You don't want more drugs though, okay?
Yeah.
But the problem is business is like a drug,
Yeah.
and you just keep loading up.
Mhm.
Sometimes just say, I've got enough of the drug.
You've been on a number of boards, and and it seems like you've always got multiple businesses running at one time. For me as a creative, I'm always coming up with new ideas and new brands I'd like to get into, and I'm worried about spreading too thin, and being able to pull yourself out of one brand and being able to give the same, I guess, motivation to the next brand. Do you think it's possible, or do you think it's a good idea to be across as a founder across multiple brands at the same time, or are you better off scaling back that vision or that creativity and focusing solely on one?
Well, I might operate in different brands, but I actually, within those brands, I'm doing the same story.
Mhm.
So to me, it's not about the brand, it's about the story. For me, anyway, I don't think it's possible to build multiple stories. I think it's possible to build multiple brands, but not multiple stories.
Mhm.
So my story is the same story every time. There's some small changes here and there, frills and furbelows around the corners and the edges, but generally speaking, it's the same basic fundamental story. And then I just attach a different brand to it. So my gut feeling is it's very difficult to build different stories and to build all the infrastructure you need to have around and behind it. And I think at the end of the day, you can end up, but that's really requires a lot of creativity to build different stories.
Mm.
It's hard enough to be creative around one story because you just don't create one story then live it. I mean, you're creating behind that one story every single day. So it's a continual creative. So I don't think you can build different stories and attach different brands to it. I think you can take one story and attach different brands to it with slight variations because it's all about the as you said earlier, it's always about the innovation and how you're recreating and rebuilding and repositioning and pivoting and et cetera. And it'll all go well until the day comes when you need to make a change or turn to the right or the left, and you'll miss it.
Yeah.
You'll miss something. I have done that, missed it, and I have made some big mistakes in that regard. So more recently, I pulled back and I just do two things now. It's Mentored and Yellow Brick Road, and effectively they're the same sort of story. One, I'm lending money, but helping people sort of build better lives. And in mentoring, I'm actually not lending money, but I'm actually helping build better lives. So it's the same story sort of thing. So I feel as though it's too hard to do the rest. Even it doesn't matter how big your team is, you still need to direct traffic, and you're ultimately responsible for it. So my gut feeling is if you can sort of take what you do and parlay that into a different product but with the same story, then that's good.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you'll find, and the other thing is you're growing really fast. You can do what I said I do when you're not growing that fast. But when you're growing really fast, you're backfilling all the time.
Mhm.
You're always saying, oh, fuck, there's a problem over here, there's a problem over here.
Yeah.
You're always trying to backfill.
Mm.
And backfilling takes a lot of intellectual time and physical time. So I'd say whilst you're at your really high growth period, particularly when you concentrate in the US, my gut feeling is you probably will stretch yourself too much and something will fall down the cracks, which you can't afford to do, particularly in the US.
Yep.
Whilst everything else is going well. Just that's how I am. That's with the benefit of hindsight. By the way, I have completely stuffed it up in the past where I thought I could do everything. That's the nature of a really competitive person. And we think we can do everything, but we can't. We think we can climb two mountains at once. You need both hands on a mountain.
I have noticed I find it difficult to be, with Bondi Sands, I'm right inside that brand, and being able to pull myself out of that into something that's completely different and then try to create something new for another brand is incredibly difficult. And that's probably what I've learned over the last 3 to 4 years. But yeah, same thing. I'm very competitive and want to do more. And I feel like if I'm not doing more, I'm not honoring that creativity.
Careful of boredom. Boredom will make you feel that way. Okay?
Yeah.
We can get bored.
Mm.
You got to put that aside. But that's a lot of these desires get driven by boredom.
Yeah.
Creative people get bored fast.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in an arrogant sense, like, oh, we're bored intellectually. We get bored with ourselves. When you actually sit back and have a look at the hackathons and all the people you can bring through your business and all, you shouldn't be bored.
Yeah.
You don't want more drugs though, okay?
Yeah.
But the problem is business is like a drug.
Yeah.
And you just keep loading up.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes just say, I've got enough of the drug, and just one thing at a time. For me now, it's just one thing at a time. I've been down the track. It's dangerous. Sometimes I've worked, sometimes it hasn't worked. And it's not worth it. When it doesn't work, it's not worth it.